So thank you for downloading episode number 13 of Gamify 24/7, and you can leave us a review and say how much you love us all, especially me. That would be fantastic. Hello, welcome.
Hello,
hey, welcome.
So here we are then, we're back. We had a week off last week. We had all sorts of Easter stuff to do, like, I don't know, what kind of Easter things did you guys do last week?
I'd say eating chocolate, but I never got an Easter egg, so...
You know, I had one, because I'm vegan, right, so I got one Easter egg, and you do get quite a good selection of Easter eggs that are dairy-free, actually, and it was great. It was really nice. I enjoyed it. So next year, I'll get you all some dairy-free Easter eggs, okay?
Yes!
Free chocolate.
Is there gaming? I take it there is gaming-related Easter eggs somewhere. Someone must sell them, surely.
Oh, there's got to be.
I thought you meant like Easter eggs in games.
Oh.
Like, I was like, yes, that's
know
a
what
thing.
they should do? They should do a Sega Easter egg for Billy the Hatcher. And it's an Easter egg. And then say, we've got a brand new game.
You could go you could go further back and you could make Chucky the Easter egg.
Yeah.
So
remember Chucky with his wee legs? I remember
That's
him.
right. Yeah. Or Dizzy, he was another one. It was a bit egg-shaped. Anyway.
I was thinking of Dizzy, sorry.
Oh, you're thinking of Dizzy. Okay, we're getting confused. Yes, the younger listeners right now have turned off, as we've just mentioned.
I didn't have a clue what you were talking about there.
I'm just sitting here thinking of Sonic and Eggman. I'm like, I'm too young.
Yeah.
Wasn't he called Dr. Robotnik?
Yeah, he's still he'll always be Dr. Robotnik to me, just like he'll always be the Fat Controller in Thomas the Tank Engine, and never
What's
whatever
he called now?
Sir Topham Hatt.
Really?
What?
Sir Topham Hatt. That was apparently his official name of the books. I've gone back to that because it's more politically correct. Anyway, let's get less of the politically correct stuff. Let's move on to our first topic this week, which is Mario Kart Deluxe, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is coming out on the Switch, and it's looking lovely.
Yeah, seems to be getting rave reviews. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I am getting it, but I'm still...
I don't know if I like it, but I'm getting it.
Yeah.
You know, it was a great game on the Wii U, and it's going to be a great game on the Switch. And with the new battle mode added, yeah, it's a bit more fully filled out. They've got all the download content, some new extra characters, but I'm still really annoyed with the fact that I have to buy it again. If it was £20, somebody talked about this before, if it was £20, I wouldn't even bother about it. However, I did go out and I bought the controllers for the little steering wheels, which are really cute. Have you seen them, Anton?
Yeah, they're awesome.
They're tiny.
Oh, that's really small. That's like a donut.
Yeah, so I've got both the controllers, so I'll be playing it with Anton and Kat hopefully at some point. And yourself, Michael, if you ever come down.
Yeah, absolutely. I probably will. I'm like you as well. I wish they'd kind of given you an incentive if you had the Wii U version to maybe trade in or something. One thing that I think is quite cool about it is the fact that they've made everything unlockable pretty much from the start. So there's none of this kind of trying to spend another 25 hours unlocking everything, you know, when you've already played through the game. So I think that's something at least that they've thought about. But you're right, I do think there should be incentives for people who have bought the game previously. The same with Lego City. You know, Lego City was another game that I'd have already bought had it not been for the fact it's a lot of money, and I've already got it. So it's kind of, you know, maybe you should start thinking about that. But anyway, guys, are you going to be playing some Mario Kart? Are you all Mario Kart fans?
I'm planning to pick it up, and I think I'm actually probably the target demographic for it. In fact, that I've never actually bought a Mario Kart game.
What?
So for me, this is my first Mario Kart game. So it's like
Lord.
I'm going in here with a full game full of all the DLC. So to me, this is like a Mario Kart 9 to me. It's like a full, complete game with all the stuff.
You've not got any of them. Like, I barely own any Nintendo things, and I've got like 3 or something. Yeah, that's mad to me.
What's weird as well, though, is that makes me angry inside.
All right, Shaun.
It does.
Okay,
How dare you have happiness?
How dare you be happy at my expense? No, because Anton's getting to come into this, and this is brilliant because he's like a new Mario user or player. But Anton's getting to come into this for the same money that I spent on the game. He's getting all the extra content, and he's loving it. I'm like, what? I have to pay for it again? And I paid for all that download content as well.
And
so the game cost me something like 60 odd quid or something.
Yeah, and there's a whole department at Nintendo laughing at you right now. They're just pointing and laughing. Pictures up on the wall.
I get to play with the Mercedes before on day one.
You get the
Who
Mercedes
else can do
that?
Yeah, it is a strange thing though, Anton, that you know you're coming to it for the first time. Shaun's played it to death already, the same game essentially, and you're paying the same, but you're getting everything unlocked. But it is one of those games though that I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised to hear that you've never owned a Mario Kart before.
Yeah, because you've played most games.
Yeah. See, the thing is I like actual simulation racing games. So I kind of know tactics and how to do racing. So if I'm playing arcade racer, I'm like, okay, I've got a racing line here, I've cut the corner here. The banana! What?
Okay.
But there is bananas in the main road though, that's real. There's bananas and there's turtles and stuff.
If Forza 6 is failing in its realism, let me tell you.
If your car is being affected that violently by a banana skin, then you need to go and get an MOT or something, Shaun, because that is not good news. That is not good news.
Well, I've got a motorbike license, so imagine going over that on a motorbike.
Oh no, that would be a nightmare.
It's very different.
So it looks like we're all going to get on the Mario Kart bandwagon, apart from maybe Cat's not so
Are you getting on a Cat?
bothered this time.
I don't have a Switch, so I'm not going to get it.
Oh, you'll play it here, wouldn't you?
I'll play it here, yeah, I like Mario Kart. I'm just not buying a Switch for it.
And I think down the line as well, when we do more stuff in the studio, I think what I'll do, I might actually use Mario Kart as one of the games for Clash of the Devs. So that may be the game we use, Mario Kart 8.
Cool. Yeah, no, it makes sense. It's one of those games that I think the great thing about Mario Kart, it's exactly the same reason that Anton hasn't bought into it, is the reason that it's such a great game, because anyone can play it. And I think that's the beauty of it, that you can play it with the family at Christmas, or you can play it with people that don't normally play video games, because it is fun. And yes, there's a difference in quality, but give them a couple of races and they'll be hitting you with the red shell just as you get to the finish line. You know, that's the way it works. So
tormenting you.
Oh, it winds me up. It's like I'm using real tactics, and then people are like, "Oh, what's this button do?" Bananas, bombs.
I found Anton's weakness.
Banana.
Yeah, I must admit it is one of the things that, as much as I love the fun of it, with Mario Kart 8, I did find that quite frustrating, and more so than in previous versions. I don't know why. But hey, I'm still going to get it anyway. Right, so moving on then. The NES Classic, which I have one, and I'm very, very delighted that I have one, because they're discontinuing them.
I keep saying, Michael, get up on eBay. 200 quid or something.
I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. I'm going to get it on eBay in 2 years' time when it's worth £10,000 or something.
Maybe. Interestingly, regarding the Classic Mini getting discontinued worldwide, and the rumours of the SNES thing, it makes it a little bit dubious. But I read an article and someone was talking about, is this because they're about to release the Virtual Console, and that's why they're getting rid of it? And it makes sense in a lot of ways. So are we on the verge of getting some news about that? Obviously E3 will probably be the place they'll show it off, but you know, if it does turn out true that there's a SNES Mini or something, then that would kind of defeat the point of the Virtual Console again. You'd be like, well, Virtual Console.
Couldn't they do the same thing again though? Do a limited run, keep the prices high, get interest going, and then suddenly Virtual Console appears? Because let's face it, the Switch is pretty much the perfect modern day device for retro gaming, in my opinion anyway.
But does that mean we're going to have to wait until Christmas when the SNES Mini, which is rumoured to release around the end of this year, do we have to wait until Christmas to get the Virtual Console?
You're still going to have an audience though, aren't you, for the SNES Mini, like the NES Mini. You're going to have those people that aren't going to want to invest in a Switch. They're not going to see it for anything else. The SNES has so much nostalgia factor, probably as much as the NES, if not even more, perhaps. It's a different kind of generational thing as well. So I think they're probably just going to capitalise on that, keep it quite limited, and maybe do the Virtual Console kind of alongside that, because that's got a much wider range appeal. I mean, we've seen the success already of the Neo Geo games. It's worked really well, and they play brilliantly on the Switch too. So I think for me, retro gaming on the Switch would be a really, really good way forward, and I would love them to introduce the Virtual Console. Kat, is that enough to sway to buy one? No?
No, sorry everyone. I just was like zoning out there. I was like NES.
One day we'll get Kat looking forward to a Nintendo game.
I would look forward to like some. Like I really like Animal Crossing. I've said that a few times. Yeah. But again, I don't think I'd buy a Switch for Animal Crossing either. I just put another one out of the 3DS and I'll be happy as Larry.
I think
We're not going to do that.
I think with the virtual console on the Switch, I was always Sega. When I grew up, it was Sega or Nintendo. You couldn't be both. You weren't allowed to be both. That was cheating. So I was always Sega. And for me, it's like going back in time with the SNES and the NES and playing all the games that I didn't have the first time around. And that's kind of the fun and the beauty. I remember my richer friends had SNESs and things, and I didn't. So I would have a go of Mario Kart, for example. But I never had one. I never had a SNES. So that's the appeal for me, but that's very much a nostalgic thing. But with the Switch, the great thing is that you can cross over onto different formats. You can, even with the older virtual consoles, they still had different formats on there. They had Sega games, they had Master System, they had NES, SNES, etc. So, there is potential there. If they could add Dreamcast and N64 to
some
the
PlayStation 1 games in it, MacDonald. Well,
PS1 games, yeah.
I get them on Vita though.
Yeah.
I get them on my Vita, so I'm alright.
Yeah, well.
I don't think they would have like PlayStation 1 games on the Switch anyway. No, they would
No,
have
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, you get them on the Vita, so.
Okay, well, one game that I would love to see on the Switch, and I know there's been some very, very kind of vague rumours that this might be getting rebooted. It's Knights of the Old Republic.
Woo!
Ooh.
I doubt it, but woo! I'd be really happy if it was.
Yeah, I doubt EA would turn back their stance. They're not even putting a real FIFA game on there, and they'll stick FIFA on anything. They're throwing the PS3 port of FIFA on the Switch. So I'm unfortunately,
that's not confirmed, though, is it? It's just going to be a custom version of FIFA 18. But yeah, the chances are it's going to be probably the PlayStation 3 version. But hopefully not. Hopefully EA has made some amends. We'll see.
I don't think that they'll do it on Knights of the Old Republic. I feel like that was rumoured, but I'm sure that people have come out since and said what may have started off as something like that has since kind of evolved into something else. But I think, is it Austin where it's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's BioWare Austin. They're
Austin.
focused on Star Wars.
I think they're making a Star Wars game, but it's not necessarily Knights of the Old Republic, which breaks my heart.
But that makes me think maybe it is something for the Switch. Maybe they're making something custom for the Switch, and that's their way
Why is
of a
everything
positive.
about the Switch?
Because EA totally screwed over the Wii U, so I'm thinking now that it's selling pretty damn well across the world, maybe they want to get something on there. And if you take an old franchise and just do a wee bit of a revamp or do a wee custom version of it, their custom versions that other companies are doing, maybe that's their way of getting back in. FIFA, something like that. Maybe, who knows?
Interesting.
That sounds like the least interested.
Sorry, no, that was unintentional. So speaking of Star Wars then, there is, of course, the new trailer for Battlefront 2, which I have to say took me by surprise because it was pretty awesome looking, and if they can get that solo campaign anywhere near that, I am 100% in for that. What were your guys' thoughts on the early signs?
Did anyone watch it is what I'm going to ask.
Yeah,
okay, because I didn't. I didn't.
I have not, no.
But what explain to me what the single player campaign would be.
What's the thing? It covers, I think it covers all the different Star Wars eras, doesn't it? The films and stuff. So now you've got a bit more content anyway. You've got Rogue One stuff in there as well, I think. But now they've got a proper single player campaign. They've also taken away the season pass, they're saying. So you're going to get all the content. You're not going to have this thing where you have to buy all different versions.
No matter what, you'll get it all.
Yeah, so it actually sounds pretty cool.
That's pretty fair.
That's one of the things that put me off buying the original one was I bought it for the VR content, but I never bought the game to play itself because I'm not a big online player.
Yeah, it was quite light if you were wanting a lot of different things to do. There were quite a few different game modes, but once you'd kind of done them all, you'd kind of have your favourite and that's what you'd stick at, and it'd just kind of be dropping in and out of it. It wasn't
because there's
that
only
compelling.
4 maps on it, day one.
Yeah, there's not that many maps, and kind of everyone learns where everything is really quick and where the best places to be for what kind of person you're being and everything. And I know I play Overwatch still, but that's also because there are lots of events and things I find quite fun and new skins and everything like that to collect, where I didn't really feel compelled to play Battlefront.
Yeah, it felt too much a cash grab to me. It felt like there was a pack, you got this pack, and you got all these add-on content. There was about 20 different add-on packs or something, and you end up spending about £150.
Yeah.
It just put me off it from the very start. It looked good, but it put me off it.
Like versus Overwatch, where you do get all these skins and extra characters are always like being added every. There's been like 3 new characters since it launched, and there's going to be more. So you get all of that just for free. You just get updates and that's it. Sorry, so I've not paid any more for Overwatch.
Which is the way it should be.
It kind of reminds me of Halo 5. Halo 5 came out and they supplied free DLC for like over a year just so they could keep the scene alive. And people, you had the hardcore players who are going off and buying the you can get rec packs and get random items like that. But for the average player, it just pops in and they're still getting all the up-to-date content and aren't being left behind.
I think that was what like the main deciding factor behind it. So they say anyway. Like I never trust EA and stuff like that, but that was one of the things, wasn't it? The thing was that people were buying the game, and there were so many different versions, and people had different experiences as a result. So it didn't quite work as well as they wanted it, bringing people together. So that's why they're getting like rid of that side of it, so everyone's on the same level playing field. We'll see how it works. But yeah, I'm interested in the single player campaign. If it's got a decent single player campaign, I'll be interested in getting it for the PlayStation 4 or something.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, Shaun. I have the first one, and as an online experience, it's quite good for people like me who aren't necessarily brilliant at online shooters. You know, I'm one of these people that likes to play a little bit and then gets kind of bored fairly quickly and does something else. And what's quite good about it is that there isn't a massive learning curve like some of the games, and it's a little bit kind of, I don't want to say dumbed down, I don't think it's the right way to look at it, but it's certainly more accessible. The downside is that, as you said, people get to know where things are pretty quickly, and you still have that problem that there is a gulf between the kind of people like me and then everyone else that plays it properly, you know. So but it's good, and I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing if they do have a single player campaign, but it would make all the difference for me for sure. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. It's the trailer's good though. You should go and check it out. It is actually quite a well done trailer, and that took me by surprise. Not that I think they do terrible trailers, but just how compelled I was to want to actually play the game. Anyway,
and hopefully they'll have some more VR content, because the VR mission they did was amazing. Yeah, so hopefully they've got some more of that. It'd be awesome. That
would be good. That would be nice. I'd be tempted. And have we got is the Star Trek game out yet, by the way, for VR? Because I saw
I think it's May the 30th, I think.
Is it? I saw a great preview of it. Somebody was talking about it, saying that they felt it was the first really engaging VR experience that was going to keep you in the VR world for a longer stint and make you want to come back to it, because this has always been the criticism, is that they're great, it's a great experience, but you're not going to necessarily want to do it more than maybe once or twice. With the new Star Trek one, it's something that people are coming back to. That might be enough to make me part with the money, I don't know, but I think it's still expensive.
It's been reduced in price as well. So it's come down to £40, I think, it's $39.99 here in the UK. So I think it was $59 before, so that's cool.
Yeah, all step in the right direction. I was also reading a report this week that apparently gaming companies make much, much, much more money from digital downloads than they do from physical copies. We spoke about that, I don't know, about 6-7 episodes again. But it is interesting still, and we still kind of hope that there's a bit of a shift and revolution at some point in terms of what happens with the pricing. But it is interesting to know that people are talking about it. And are we going to see any changes anytime soon in terms of the pricing structure?
I hope so. Like, especially just for consoles anyway. PC I don't think has as much of a problem. But yeah, definitely consoles. Yeah. It's a total rip-off. Like the PlayStation Store, like, although like PSN has some great sales every few months, there's going to be a really good sale, so it's worth waiting if you want a game. But they cash in on you when you're desperate for something, especially new releases. They know like maybe it's sold out in the shops, or maybe you just want to play it right there and then. So they'll charge you a good £60 for it, and it's redonks.
And what's silly about that is they can control that as well, because they can say put out a limited release like NES Classic, but for a game, especially when it's a digital content, chuck it out there and give a really limited release so everyone's dying to get it. And then you say hike the price up online, you're like,
so bad.
I can only buy it from there. It's like £60.
Unless you just wait, and some people just aren't going to wait.
I read a really interesting theory from someone that in the future gaming, going back to retro gaming, is going to become harder and harder. And the reason for it's this, because if I pick up a game right now for, let's say, a SNES or an N64 or a Dreamcast, when I put that game into the system, I'm playing the exact experience that I had when I bought it back in 1996 or 2000 or whatever. So the experience is the same. As we go forward, because of DLC, because of updates, because of iterative updates that happen regularly, that is going to disappear, because what happens when those updates are no longer available for the system, when the system's outdated, when you go and put that original game in, it's going to be the very first original version without any of the fixes, potentially.
Yeah, good
so,
point, yeah.
Which is something that to be honest, because we're in the middle of that, and that's very much what's happening right now, I hadn't really thought about it particularly in depth, but I thought this was a really interesting point that someone had made. What's going to happen for retro gaming in the future? Which sounds like a very strange sentence. But
So you mean like current games in the future, which will be then retro?
So,
in
like,
the future?
how many games? How many? Exactly, that's it. Yeah. So, how many games do we play now? And on day one, there's a patch, and then there's another patch, say 2 weeks later, and so on, until the point is that the a year down the road, that game that you're still playing is a completely different and much more improved version of the original game that you bought. But when you go back and those servers aren't available anymore, and you go back to play the original game, you put it into the console for the first time, it's going to be that original raw version rather than the developed one.
Imagine doing that with a Bethesda game.
Oh God.
You'd be stuck with all the glitches forever.
Well, there you go. That's it. Yeah. So
failed
how do we?
Skyrim wedding.
So how do we? How's that going to be fixed in the future?
But like, I suppose with the access now of online digital content, there'll be someone will have a version of the downloaded part archived somewhere, so you'll be able to find it somehow. You know how like there's archive for websites, you can go back and see Google or YouTube when it first. So I was saying, you can go right.
Shush!
Just answer and be like, "I'm recording," and slam the phone down.
Don't you know who we are? Right.
Yeah. So
Okay,
I'm saying
carry
you can
on.
go back to like archive for websites where you can look at the original version of Amazon or Google or Facebook, and you can see what they're like. It's archived for the rest of the time, unless the digital servers go down completely. You'll always be able to get back to see what that's like. So maybe there'll be something like that for games. Maybe you know how people are archiving all previous retro games, and they're trying to have these museums for all the content, so we can always have that history there.
Well, that is a great point, but doesn't that still take away from that retro experience of actually, picking up the original way that you bought it? Because isn't that part of the whole thing about retro, that you do it in the way that it was originally done?
Maybe it'll be something like, how we're talking about Phantasy Star Online, and I was saying to you that some guys have set up original servers where you can still log in with your Dreamcast and play it like it was the original game.
Yeah, of course.
So maybe someone will do something like that. Maybe they'll have a server with the stuff, and you can boot your game in, set your IP address, and you'll pull in an update or something. So maybe it will be similar. I don't know.
And another theory would be is the idea of losing these games because the systems comes outdated. There's potential that this generationless future that Microsoft's trying to go for, where all the consoles are connected and all the games carry forward, might help it, because that means like a game like Overwatch, that'll still be a game that will be playable in the same system in 40 years if Microsoft's dream of one system of constantly evolving systems actually plays out.
Well, assuming that they set up the servers, though, that's where the problem kicks in, though, doesn't it? If a game like Overwatch is meant to be primarily online, if all those servers go down at some point, you might have the game, but can you play the game the way you originally wanted to play it? Like Michael was saying, it's like maybe that experience is gone once you've tried it for the first time, and that's it. Like, whereas we've got stuff like the Switch kind of resolves that a little bit, I suppose. You've got the game cartridge, you can put that game in at any point, you can go 20 years down the line, put that cartridge in, and it's still going to be the original game.
But there's still been, 2-3 updates for the likes of Zelda, so there is still that slight,
Could you just delete those, though?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's not. I just thought it was a very interesting take on the way that we're moving forward, and I guess it's these things that we don't really think about when we're, it's not retro yet, so it doesn't really matter in terms of what they're talking about, But
I know what's going to happen. VR is going to get so good that we're going to go into VR, and they'll create a simulation of what it was like to be retro. So you'll go into the simulation and you'll play the game like it originally was, but it's all part of the simulation. It's not even real.
So like a game within a game.
Yeah,
Oh my
Inceptional
My
VR.
mind is blown of just thinking about that. That just sounds intense. All right, then let's move on. We're going to move on to retro section in just a moment. Before we do, though, there has been some rumours about the Switch Mini.
Yeah, I'm not keen on the idea.
No, I'm not either.
Yeah.
What? It's already tiny.
I
What
know.
are you on about?
It's like apparently there's rumours, someone done a picture and there's analysts are saying that they expect now with the success of it in 2019 we'll see a revamped mini version.
A mini, like as in the handheld part will be even smaller.
Well, the whole thing, and the Joy-Cons didn't even detach, they were just attached to it like a sort of kind of Game Boy Advance Vita type thing.
So
Yeah.
it's just going to be a Vita but Nintendo.
Yeah.
Right.
I just didn't see it. Honestly, it sounded ridiculous, but maybe they will, I don't know.
Yeah,
knows?
the scary thing is that Nintendo seems to think of the 3DS as a handheld and the Switch as a home console, and they're like, oh yeah, people want a portable console, they're going to go for the 3DS, and Nintendo's still in that mindset that the Switch is too big. Well,
Yeah, that's the thing. I could see maybe different versions of the actual underlying hardware. Like you get more memory, you get a faster processor, and build it up like that. But I think the size of it, that's like, to me, that's almost like an ideal size for that handheld. And I don't see a need for it, making it smaller.
I agree with you on that, Shaun. To be honest, I don't think we need a mini Switch, but we'll see. Probably will. It'll probably be the best-selling thing they ever do because Nintendo seem to always surprise us. All right, then we're going to move on to the retro section. Do you want to do your theme tune?
Do we actually have a theme tune or do we just
No, we just
blag
make
it
it up.
every time?
retro.
You can just make it up. Make it up every time. Yeah, every time.
Right.
That's the best way to do
Retro
it.
with Shaun.
Retro with me.
That was very good. That was very good, Shaun. Before we move on to because you're doing the retro section, I've got two bits of retro news from myself this week. I've backed 2 Kickstarter projects, and the first one is for a Mega Drive game made with the original box and the original cartridge, and it's a game called Tanglewood, and it follows a little fox type creature, and it looks fantastic. It looks just like the old Mega Drive games, but slightly slicker, maybe because they've had 20 years to work on it probably. But also, it looks great, and I've backed that. So that's one project, and the other one I've backed, and this is a slightly bigger purchase, and whether or not I get the use of it, I don't know. But I've just bought myself, just on the anniversary, ZX Spectrum Next, which is the brand new ZX Spectrum, and it has Wi-Fi and an SD card slot, and it runs at an insane rate. It's got an incredible amount of memory in there, 512 kilobytes. So it is going to blow your socks off with power.
I think that's almost fast enough to make it go.
I don't know if it's quite that fast. Come on, steady. So anyway, it's like...
Are we all really tired today? Or
Yeah,
am I just imagining?
I think so.
I'm really tired. Sorry.
So we're like 2-3 times faster than the original, and my one was a 128K, so that was awesome. So it's in all reality, it's actually a fantastic project because it's very much encouraging people to get into programming and to programming games, and that was the only time I've ever ventured into programming anything was on a Spectrum, because the language they used was quite easy to do, and it was very, very easy to kind of get into it, and there was lots of guides and things to do it, So I bought that. So it comes in January. It cost a lot of money. I went for a personalised one, so I'll have my name on it as well.
Baller.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of my old stuff that you don't care about. Let's move on to the retro section with Shaun. What have you got this week for us?
Well, my little thing there with the 1.21 gigawatts was a reference to Back to the Future, as you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
But let's go a little bit further back to the future. I'm going to take you guys back to 1992. And this game's come out on lots of different platforms, but it was originally a Mega Drive game.
Do we get to guess the game?
I know. Are we guessing?
But you can try and guess this one. So it came out in 1992, but it is set in 2140. So that's where the Back to the Future comes from. See?
Speedball.
Terminator.
What's that?
Speedball.
No. So
I don't know any.
Meg will probably get it straight away. As soon
I
as
was
it says.
only 1 when this happened, so I'm not really
Me
going to
too.
remember it.
I was only like 1 or something. Anyway, carry on.
So in the game, I'll give you a little bit of it. It's rotoscoped movement game, and it's set in the future, and it was made by Delphine Software, or Delphine Software.
Yeah.
Do you recognise that name?
Yeah, but I can't remember the game.
So think of games like Prince of Persia. Remember the old original Prince of Persia? And it had the rotoscope movement. It was really cool. Well, anyway.
Oh, what's this? I think I have an idea.
What do you think it is?
Is it Another World?
No, but it's by the same company.
Flashback?
Oh, Flashback.
Oh,
Hey!
Flashback, yeah.
Flashback.
Much younger than me, Anton.
I was -5 when this game came out.
God.
-5.
Sorry.
Flashback, such a cool game. It was made by Delphine Software, like I said. The guy who made the game himself, Paul Cusso, French guy. It was a French game. I actually won an award in the Guinness World Records for being the biggest selling game in France ever at the time. I don't know if it still is now, but it was a massive game, and it's kind of like pixelated graphics, but really clean. And even if you watch it today, if you play it today, it's still amazing. So there was Prince of Persia, that was made by someone else, but it's in the same style, rotoscope. You had Another World, and you had Flashback, and then they'd done another game after that. It was a sequel to it. I forgot what it's called now. But yeah, such a cool game. And it's basically like a side-scroller puzzler, but it's done like with 3D kind of models, the rotoscope thing. And you start off and you're basically a scientist who's developed this beam or ray that can check different densities in the air. But when they test it, what they realise is some of the people walk around, they're basically morphs, they're called, and they're denser, so that's why his thing can see it. And they're aliens, basically, and they're here. And he hears like things, and they're trying to overtake the Earth. So you have to try and escape. You fall off your bike, you lose your memory, but you've got this holocube that you've recorded like a message to yourself. It's kind of almost like what's the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he goes to
Total
Mars?
Recall.
It's kind of like that almost.
Yeah.
And you remind yourself what happened, so then you have to go off planet, you go off to these other worlds and everything, and you're trying to escape the aliens, they're trying to kill you the whole time. And there's like bits in it where you're in the future and this planet is Titan, I think it is. You're on the planet and you get a job and you have to go around and do like errands with the job and stuff. But it's such a cool game. And some of it is really difficult as well, really, really hard.
I was going to say, that's my abiding memory of it, is how hard it was.
Yeah, it's like there's bits where you have to transport in, you have to do jumps, and it's designed as well where the rotoscope and the movement is really well done. So if you fall off a ledge, if you're too high up, you'll die. So it's got bits like that. So it was kind of new for its time. It's just really, really nice. Like I'm saying, if you look at it now, it still holds up. It's one of those games that is almost timeless as a result. However, they did make a remake. Another company, I forgot who it's called, they made a remake for the Xbox 360, I think it was.
Okay.
Really?
Back in 2013.
That's exciting.
And it looks cool, it still looks cool, but I just think the original one's the best one. That just looks amazing.
The story sounds really good. I really like the sound of that. But again, I don't know about the gameplay because I'm not very good at side scrollers and stuff.
Well, it's hard, and it's one of these games where the movement, if you're not used to it, probably feels a little bit clunky because you'll push it and it's got a slightly like delay before he'll do his jump or he'll do his walk. And when you stop,
I would just not be good at that.
But you get used to it and it's really quite cool. But then you got to be unlocking bits, the puzzles, and you get like a gun and stuff like a ray gun. You have to like time your ray gun bullets. It's so cool. But
yeah,
I definitely say if it's something you've not played, it's been released on virtually every single console, so you can probably get it somewhere. I'd love to see it in the Switch as a virtual console game. But yeah, I've like been thinking about it. I think I really want to play a game. I think I bought it for like one of my consoles in the virtual console on the Wii, I think it was. I think it came out in that as well, or maybe even the Wii U. But I never got around to playing it. I bought it but never played it. But I've always got that thing in my head, and the nostalgia. It was amazing. Yeah. But when you do go back and play it, it is really, really hard.
Yeah,
really hard.
I agree with that. It was huge at the time as well. There was a lot of publicity around it when it came out because it was so different. It was very much heralded as the kind of the next wave of style and gaming, and it was a really, really good game. I found it very hard at the time.
Yeah.
And it didn't really as a retro thing for me. Because I didn't have it, although I played it plenty. I didn't have it at the time, so it doesn't resonate as a retro thing for me in the same way as other games, but I remember just how much of an impact that game had when it came out.
I found the sequel as well. The sequel was called Fade to Black. It was released in 1995. And the remake was like done in 2013 by Vector Cell, and it was on the PC. And like I said, the Xbox 360 as far as I'm aware. But yeah,
Cool.
really cool game. Really cool game.
If I'm not mistaken, I've heard things. I might have got this mixed up with Another World, but it originally started out as a tie-in game to Aliens, the movie.
Possibly, because it's like.
But
yeah.
they couldn't secure the rights for it, so they ended up going off. Like they had started building up the engine and stuff, and then they ended up having to change the rights. They couldn't get the rights, so they had to make their own original IP.
That's cool, isn't it? If that's true, that'd be amazing. If someone's listening to this who's played the game or knows about it, let us know if that is the case. If it was based off Aliens, that'd be really cool.
I think it's one of the rotoscope style games. It might be Another World, as I say, but I remember hearing something about that kind of era of games being related to Aliens.
Cool. Well, definitely check it out. If you haven't already seen the art involved in the game, go and check it out because it is well worth looking at, and it still does stand up today when you watch it as a game that looks still really, really cool. Great shout, by the way, Shaun. I'm impressed with your retro shout this week. That was good.
No, what's funny is I actually had it last week, but obviously we weren't filming it, recording. I had it in my head, and then I almost forgot it a couple of days ago. I was like, what's my retro game again? I was like, what was it?
Nightmare. That's what happens. Old age, you see. It's just what happens. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this week. And Shaun, just a reminder for anyone that wants to come and subscribe and check us out. If this is the first time they've listened, we've got a new place that you can catch us now as well.
Yeah, we're on YouTube now, so you can go and see all the episodes. We've got 2 more to go up, so when you listen to this, they'll be up available, and this will be the brand new episode. But if you go into the Small Fry YouTube page, there's a playlist for Gamify 24/7, and all the podcasts will be in there. We're working on things. Let us know what you think about it. If there's things you'd like to see in the podcast with the video version, and we'll have a look at that. I want to also give a shout out to it's Edinburgh College. Let me just get this right here. Edinburgh College Gaming Society. So a shout out to our listeners from there, and I think we're going to be doing some more stuff with you guys going forward. So looking forward to that. And yeah, we're on Facebook and social media under SmallFryUnify. So go and check out and leave some comments and feedback for us, and we'll give you a shout out in the show. In fact, I had a couple of comments. We had a couple of comments, didn't we? From the YouTube thing. Let me just get these up for you. 1 second. You have to probably cut this out, Michael.
YouTube comments. This worries me already.
Oh, that's good. They're good. Let me just get the comments up.
While we're waiting for this, just to clarify, we still accept photos of dogs using the hashtag Gamify247. I'll personally choose the best dogs and give them a shout out by name, of course. As well as, you've got comments. Also to clarify, I did something of pure heresy in the last episode, and I need to rectify my mistake. The new Xbox Scorpio is not a square, it is a rectangle, in fact. I apologise.
You're lucky about the pitchforks out and everything.
If I'm not on the next episode, you know why.
You're going to get sued for libel by Microsoft.
In all honesty, Anton, that's one of the reasons that I've been speaking to you less this week. I can now rest easy.
Ashamed of you, Anton. Ashamed of you. All this
the true reason
content.
is why we cancelled the last episode is we had to get the lawyers to sort this out to make sure we're clear.
So, got a couple of comments here from YouTube, from the podcast on YouTube. We've got a guy called I Made Edini Benatu.
Nice.
Who says, glad you're making an interesting podcast. Keep up the good work, guys. Thank you for that.
Oh, that's nice.
We had Ascension NCS said, cool video, bro.
Oh, well,
is that
he's right.
what, like, cool story, bro?
Cool story, bro.
Like, was that sarky, or was that...
Let's bring the lawyers back out again.
Cool video, bro.
We had Mr. Bass Boost said, excellent video, keep it up. Cool. And then we had one today from one of the new ones that went up. It was from Your Angelica, who said, I love you. I think that's a spam one, but I'll take it.
We love you too, Your Angelica.
Exactly.
Beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Right, well, keep the comments coming then. Be they brilliant, indifferent, or terrible.
Spammy.
It doesn't really matter. Spammy's fine too. We'll take anything because we're all really desperate for lovely comments. So anyway, listen, it's been fun this week, and we will be back in a week's time. Until then, go and check out the YouTube because the YouTube. Check the old guy in the corner.
The YouTube on the interwebs.
Go check out the YouTube on the interweb and check out the episodes on there because it is really cool. And someone had said to me that it was a good way to do it because it means that it's accessible on any device pretty much. If you can play YouTube, you can listen to the podcast. So hopefully that will get a few more people being able to tune in regularly. So we will be back in a week's time, and until then, have a lovely, lovely week. Bye.
Take care. Bye.